Hello everyone and welcome to another game development video. Today I'll be doing something a little different. I'll be showing you something in Blender instead of Unity, and that's mostly because I decided to work on a few things that I can actually see and are a little more tangible than kind of the nitty-gritty behind the scenes turning gears work of actually programming things and making things work. I kind of wanted to make something that I could visualize and interact with. So I decided to block out one of the potential multiplayer maps. And I know I haven't stated this in a while, but if you're unaware, the multiplayer game that I'm working on, this first person shooter, is going to be heavily Halo inspired. It will not have a campaign, it will be exclusively multiplayer. But there's a lot of elements from Halo coming there, the overshields, the arena style gameplay of having the weapons on the map for you to pick up. Um, so that's what I'm kind of going for. Um, so basically, I'm just going to go over what I've done for this map design here. Another way that makes the game Halo-esque is that there is vehicles. I have a kind of stand-in object for a vehicle here, and exactly mirrored in this two-way symmetrical map over the y-axis here is a another vehicle. These are kind of civilian-esque vehicles. I'm sure I'll add like a warthog-esque thing with like a turret somewhere, and there will probably be a turret somewhere on the actual map, just like a stationary weapon. Um, but there are other vehicles here, like this one and this one over here that's overhanging, potentially going to fall. This will also be a physics object. Um, those are more or less set pieces. They're definitely interactable in the fact that they will be able to be destroyed, they'll explode, and they'll have physics, but they will not be drivable. Here is a kind of character piece for scale, and you can see a doorway there. The scale is, still in flux. I might move a few things around. I was looking at this map earlier, and it feels kind of small for a vehicle oriented map, or not really, kind of the hybrid map between having vehicles and, on foot combat. It's not a vehicle based map like maybe Valhalla or like Coagulation or something, but it's definitely should have a lot of vehicle compatibility. Like here is a track here, several accessibility points to reach the greater size track around the edges, ramps. Here's some ramps that shoot you across the thing. Not actively like a man cannon, just like just normal analog ramps. There's destroyable glass cover that would be here, like what you might see on some of those sections in Cairo Station of Halo 2. Some physics objects like cones, some palm trees here, jumping points like this, accessibility to higher points with jumping like that, some normal sloping ramps. If you're familiar at all with something like Halo 2, you'll recognize the kind of New Mombasa inspiration uh, with palm trees and vending machines and kind of the geometric buildings. Also on this walkway and these platforms here, these should be breakable glass platforms. So if somebody's running over and you're below and you shoot the glass, they'll fall through to their death. So basically I've been working on this, and I really like how it looks so far. I have a few things that I will enable in a second, objects that I've hidden that will show you just a little bit more flair that's going into the map. Let me just also show off a few more things that are hard to see. Here's an entryway here that leads down this little ramp and turns into an open area with a pillar, and then kind of turns back out into the lower level. So that's nice. These little geometric shapes here, I believe I will have those there to kind of indicate a moving walkway. I think I'll have kind of that airport style, moving walkway on the ground. So if you stand on that, it'll bring you across. Obviously, that won't factor in too much to actual gameplay, but will add a little bit of spice and believability to the location. So I guess if you're walking on one particular part of it that's going a certain direction, you'll either move slower or faster. If a physics object falls on it, it'll be carried to the end. And you could just do interesting and fun things with that. Um, I don't want to go into a 343 hate speech, but they've done a really bad job of having interactability in their maps, and even just physics objects, which are highly expected for Halo. Anybody who's a fan of Halo 3 or even Halo 2, Halo Reach as well, will come to expect some kind of physics objects, like even a cone or movable trash cans like this. Um, but they just decide not to do it for some reason, even though that's what the people want. There's these little I forget what they're called in real life, but these like blocking parts for cars, and these will be very easy to ram through. They'll just fall apart very easily. Um, and then this little transformer type thing here, like an electrical box, you'd be able to shoot that, and it would break and just switch to a slightly more broken model. You know, things you'd expect to see in a AAA game that they don't have in fucking Halo now. Not that my game is a AAA game. That's exactly my point. Is that these are basic things that you shouldn't have to guess are going to be in a game. They should just be in the game. Um, I'm going to stop for a second and enable some of those objects so you could see them, some more interesting points of the map. I think I got distracted earlier. I was going to say that I think maybe the map needs to be scaled a bit this way. Obviously, not the entire map object itself, but there should be more space here, I think. Right now, it's good that you can't just jump across on the upper floor, but there needs to be more room for the vehicles to drive, I think. Or maybe it's fine how it is. I'll get around to testing it at some point. But the closest I get to testing it now is I'll grab this little car, and then I'll lock it on the Z-axis and move it around. Pretty reasonable driving speed. Seems okay. Should probably take about, let's say, it should definitely take at least almost 10 seconds to drive around the entire map. So maybe this does need some scaling. But I guess on the outermost path, let's see. Yeah, that's a lot better. And obviously there'll be variables such as running into enemies as in other players because it's an exclusively multiplayer game, bumping into things, going up ramps that will lower your speed naturally, just because of how physics of games works and physics in real life, honestly. Um, but yeah, and also there's a few jumping points here, like you could jump from there to there. I'm just gonna go in and re-enable those objects that I was talking about earlier. So the first thing to show off, and it may seem for a second like I'm doing something in the way of, how a lot of indie developers make really weird grand promises of things that won't make it into the actual game because they're over promising and they're working on something really strange like a giant open world project, and like, oh, we'll make a fully persistent world and stuff like that. I don't think this is too much of a promise to make. If I just enable here, um, you know, we have these cars flying above. Here's some truck cars and stuff like that. Flying above, just flying cars, and you'd be able to shoot at them and they'd fall into the map and explode, and it'd create a very dynamic, interesting kind of physics based thing that's going on. They could very easily be something like if you saw on, I believe it's called Construct in Halo 3, there will be sentinels flying around every once in a while below the map. And in Guardian, there's those little flying little bird creatures with the four wings. I don't think it would be too hard to include something like this. The biggest hurdle for that, I guess, would be syncing it between players. But I think that would be fun and interesting if like this truck thing is flying over and then you can shoot the bottom of it. They'll have like little hover pads on the bottom, and if one breaks, it's just scripted to turn into a regular physics object and fall at the trajectory that's already going. So if it's flying like this and it gets shot, it'll just fly down and then smash here. it'll curve over, smash something else, or it can go under here and splatter somebody. And that just keeps gameplay interesting and fresh and makes people want to play a map again. There's just fun things like in Zanzibar, in Halo 2, in Halo 3, Last Resort, those kind of things with the buttons you could press to bring up barriers, or you can shoot one of the explosive little latch things that's on the wheel. The wheel itself is a very dynamic and interesting movable aspect of the map. Um, it's just like things like that that make the map interesting. I think every single map that I make for my game will have some kind of dynamic aspect to it. I think it's quite silly for a game like Halo Infinite to create maps in such a franchise that expects such a thing and not include dynamic um, map elements. I think the closest we get to that in Halo Infinite is those little rooms to the side on the larger maps where you can get weapons, and in that one like powerhouse, like water plant thing, whatever it is, there's these little computer things that pop out of the ground near the middle of the map, and you can climb on those, and that's about it. Um, but yeah, we have something interesting like that. I can disable that and then open up the other collection. And this is another idea that I had, that we have these billboard type objects that are hovering, and a player would be able to shoot that billboard and it would fall and crush a driving car, or would fall and splatter somebody. And if that's a bit overkill, I might get rid of these extra ones on the sides just because we already have all the hovering cars. But there's also these ones in the middle that I think will add an interesting level of movement and verticality to it. So my plan for these right now is to, if I lock it on the x-axis and grab it, there are 4 of them, one here, one there, one there, and there. They'll switch positions. So this one will move to the right slowly, then go down, and then back, and up again. They'll be trading places, and that will be interesting because somebody on the lower level could jump onto this, someone on the higher level could jump onto it. But as it's rising, somebody on the higher level could jump onto it, and then it'll move across, and you can shoot people from here. You could be standing here behind cover and shooting somebody. You could stand on the other side and shooting somebody. You could be even shooting somebody standing on the other one. And it can be moving like this. And while it's moving, you can jump down onto here and ambush somebody. Just use it as a nice way to get to this middle section where there will surely be some kind of power up in. As it's hovering over, it'll also hover over the ones that are moving on the bottom, so you can jump from this into that one and kill someone. Just interesting things. It is an interesting enough part of the map that I might not want these hover pad things to be destructible. But also it would be cool and dynamic if they were able to be. I don't know what I would do. I think a good compromise would to have a timer on it. Make it a little difficult to destroy these objects, and when they are destroyed, possibly another one will spawn in and just come from the bottom here, like an automated system in the city. It's common enough that the advertisements will be destroyed, so it just sends up another drone of like advertisements with maybe a different design, and I can have an array of wacky and satirical designs on there, and it randomizes it. That would be interesting. And then it would just cycle its position overhead and go under and up again. They'll just switch positions like that. I think that'll be really fun and interesting. Overall, I'm pretty proud of how this map turned out. I'm really looking forward to, in the future, building it in Unity, or possibly just refining the assets in Blender and exporting them there. I've heard both incredibly good and incredibly bad things about Pro Builders, so I'm hesitant to use that. But we'll see. I'll get around to it at some point. Thank you for watching my video. I will be uploading more in the near future. If you want to see less long form content and more GIFs and images, follow me on Twitter at the same name, LowResDev. I'll be posting there very often. And thank you for joining me. I will be uploading relatively soonish. I took about a month break. A lot of stuff going on, got a new job, someone in my family got major surgery, so Just a lot of shit going on. So I don't know. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.